Hello, hello, and welcome to the Paisley Penny Arcade today. Today is the 17th of December, 2025. And isn't that something? The year is almost over. As you can see, I've decorated for the holiday. I have. Yes, I have. Look at that candle there. It's a big old candle. I don't even know where I got that. Not even sure. Oh, look at that beard of mine. Wow. I need to decorate my beard. I need to do something. Wow, that's really something. Kind of lopsided. I guess I need to trim it up. Good morning. Hey, Renee's in the room. Anne, hello, how are you? As you can see, Anne, it says Noel. So, I'm glad to have you here tonight. Yes, indeed. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Joyeuse Noël. Oh. That's Maurice Chevalier, and you know. So how is everybody doing? It's nice to have you here. We've got the solstice coming up. I love the solstice. I'm a huge solstice fan. I'm going to tell you why tonight. My friend and I, who's my friend? Rolf. This is Rolf. There you can see Rolf. Rolf is smoking a pipe. I used to smoke a pipe. I smoked a pipe for a long time. Yes, I did. And then one day, tobacco, no more. I just couldn't. So I was loaned to this, and so I have to, I'll keep it here until the holiday is over, and then I have to give it back because Rolf is a very delicate, but he's a very cheerful. I love this guy. I was told I could comb his beard. Isn't that funny? I could comb his beard so that he wouldn't be quite so unkempt. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I shan't be doing that. But I'll put Rolf right over here where he'll be safe. And I like him. Makes me smile. We've got a couple of Rolf cousins that actually you can put a cone of incense in, and he smokes. But not Rolf. He doesn't have that. Plus, in this office, it would probably be a very dangerous thing to do. So, I hope you're all doing well. Yeah. The world is, she's a loony. Well, she's a loony. Yeah, maybe the inmates are running the asylum. You think maybe that's the case? I do. I think that may be the case. I made notes because there are things I want to tell you. What usually happens is I get about 5 minutes left in the show and I think, I wanted to tell you this and this and this and this and this and this. And I didn't tell you those things. So, chat room. Beard buddies. Yes, indeed, Pamela. Beard buddies, how are you? Good to have you here. Have you where? What are you talking about, Mo? What is this have you? Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. What is this? What is this? Anyway, you can come right here to the chat room, which is at YouTube at moabdelbaki.com. That's MOABDELBAKI. And there is a chat room there, and you can talk directly to me because it is live. Now, there's a good chance that next week's show won't be live, but I'm hoping to get it on. So I'm going to record it pre-hand. That's good enough. And the one afterwards as well, because that's New Year's Eve, and it's an anniversary, and we don't, I don't want to sleep in a cardboard box somewhere in another part of the city. So that will also be pre-recorded, but I plan on having shows so you can tune in and see if they are indeed on. That is my plan, to have them on at the regular time. So I tried to have a different opening, the 5-minute thing before the show. Didn't work. I tried it. There was video, but no audio. And so I'm going to try that again. Yeah, I'll try that again. Do you know what audio means in Latin? I hear, I listen. I think that's wonderful. Do you know RCA Victor? RCA Victor, you wind it up and it's, hello there, that one. Do you know what the name of that dog is? First of all, it's a pit bull, or a terrier, a bull terrier, and his name is Little Nipper. Little Nipper. Bit of trivia there. Anyway, and that little logo says his master's voice. He's tilting his head like, what in the heck's going on here? Yeah, yeah. I have those old Victrolas. So I was listening to one of those old Victrolas when a ghost screamed at me. And the holidays do evoke ideas of ghosts, don't they? Because of A Christmas Carol by Dickens, which is a phenomenal, phenomenal story. I read it every year. I've taken the past few years of reading it in Greg's shorthand. It keeps me sharp, or est, or whatever. I like to read it that way. Let's see. So Rolf doesn't inhale. Good one, Pamela. That's good. No, he doesn't inhale at all. Not at all. Yeah, and the pipes I smoked were regular old tobacco pipes. I've still got them all. For some reason, I couldn't get rid of them. I doubt I'll ever. I mean, it's been over 30 years since I've smoked. My kid brother came some Thanksgivings ago. Actually, it was a long time ago. And he said, Mo, I've brought some cigars. And I said, oh, well, thank you for doing that. But I don't smoke anymore. So, no, I can't do that. And he said, oh, come on, I brought these cigars. You used to be a fond cigar smoker. And I said, oh, I know. I worked in a tobacco shop, you see. And I know the difference between half a Tampa Jewel and a really good cigar. And he was so offended, I think. But I think these were really good, really, really good cigars. Like even maybe from places you shouldn't get cigars in this country from. And I got quit. I couldn't do it anymore. It was just one of those days. I had a piece of tobacco, not quite like that. But when I went to ball games, I'd chew. It was really, yeah. And now, of course, tobacco is so incredibly expensive. I think cigarette is now $80, $70 a piece. You buy a pack of cigarettes for $160, $200 for a pack of cigarettes, I think, because I haven't bought one. Anyway, enough of that. Absurdity. What is this? No wonder I've been hearing, I think you need to trim your beard. It's maybe a little, maybe. I haven't trimmed it it's been a while. I trimmed my beard. I haven't cut my hair in almost 2 years. But it's curly. It doesn't need much, See, I don't look in a mirror very often, but, my mirror doesn't talk to me in nice terms. It cusses at me, looks at me and says, Mo, what the, well, what are you? Oh, well, if you can stand it, I can. Yeah, you see, I got this camera and it looks back at me. So it's like the picture of Dorian Gray. Oscar Wilde, if you've never read it, it's a heck of a read. You get a real feel for what Victorian England community was like. It was real strange. That's the good thing about reading. You can see what things were like a long time ago. So the solstice. What I read is that the solstice will take place on Sunday morning at 8:03 my time. I live in a mountain zone, so 10:03 on the East Coast. I may be wrong, but that was the source I saw. 9:03 Central Time and 7:03 Pacific. Those of you who live elsewhere, fend for yourself. Look it up. You can find out. And that's kind of an amazing thing, the solstice. Now, it's just a moment in time. It goes by very quickly. But it's what it represents to me that is kind of a big deal. I'm infatuated with it, and the question is why? Why am I infatuated with the solstice? Well, first of all, it's the longest night of the year. Now, the longest night of the year will be, it's kind of the same. It'll happen on the kind of the 20th. and the 21st and the 22nd and the 23rd. Now, those long nights of the year, they're nice because what you do is you go to bed and it feels to me, I always love those nights because it's a long, long night. Now, honest to goodness, it's just a few minutes, maybe seconds. It's just, but it feels so good to me. It just feels like you're being, hugged by the night. Stuff in my pocket, pens and flashlights and gloves and, I've always been like that since I was a kid. Yeah. But anyway, my ace of discs in my tarot deck. The ace of discs in most tarot decks is the signature card of the person who designed it. So I'll show you my ace of discs because it really does kind of exemplify who I was, but still who I am. My pockets are almost always full of stuff, like in my left-hand side pocket. You can put an 8-ball and a 9-ball. No, that's not true. But you can. I have stuff that I need. I hang a couple things off my belt. I'm just that kind of guy. I've always been that way. And I put my ace of discs is my signature card. I'm going to show it to you here in just a second. Here it is. And I think you may get a kick out of it. You may not care. One time I had that much stuff, and I was about 5 to 7. The ace of discs is that yo-yo in the middle, and the other stuff, there's like a spinning top, you can see there, and a jackknife, which is not real. I had a fake jackknife. Made out of plastic, cheap plastic. I carried a couple of matches, which I was not supposed to have, but I took them from the kitchen. It was a gas stove. I loved matches, a little pyro, actually. I enjoyed that. Marbles and the fake teeth and a baseball card. I had some valuable cards, which my mom decided I was too old for, and it was silly. You can see some string there, and the bottle with the wax, and then you bite the tip off and you drink the ooey gooey stuff in the meantime. Black jelly bean. I loved the black jelly bean, that horrible taffy candy from Halloween, which I would hang on to in an emergency in case I just had to have a piece of candy. I mean, stupid stuff. But my pockets were always full. And teachers would holler at me and they would take the yo-yo away, and, because you're not supposed to have them in school. But that's been me ever since. And I figured that was a pretty good signature card for me. My ace of discs. So, back to the subject. The solstice. But the ace of discs is really about who you are and who you are as an individual, and the beginnings of things. So just so you know, it doesn't have to be about me. I mean, it's not about me. And then just like Crowley's ace of discs is not about you, it's about him, but it also has to do with a lot of other things, and you just go from there. So why the solstice? Well, it's a big deal. We're going to talk about what a big deal it is. It's a gigantic deal. It's a huge deal. First of all, the word solstice means sun still. Sun still. Sol, sun. That's the name of our sun, by the way, Sol. Sol. And stis means still. So the summer solstice, sun still. And the winter solstice, sun still. Now, what does that mean? Well, once upon a time, the summer solstice used to take place in the constellation of Cancer. And that was a very, 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 very long time ago. And it would be in Cancer. And what it does is it drops on a thing called the ecliptic. Now, I have a video on my site, my YouTube site, about the precession of the equinox and all of that. It's long and it's probably to some monotonous. I found it fascinating. I find that stuff fascinating. And you could watch it. It explains it all about how the precession of the equinox occurs and why once upon a time the solstice took place in Cancer, and that's why we call it the Tropic of Cancer. Don't worry about it. But it was a long, long time ago. About long time ago, maybe like 5,000 years or more. But and that's fine. But what happened there is that the ecliptic is the path that the sun takes through the year, through the sky. It's an apparent path, we call it, because what's really happening is that the sun is not going anywhere. It's the Earth that moves around the sun. You probably know that by now. My Power Peak article, if you read it, and if you don't get the Power Peak, you really ought to read it. It's free. I mean, you don't have to pay a penny. You subscribe to it, and you can do that. Go to 12house.com, sign up. You don't get a lot of spam or anything like that, but you do get every week. You get to read C.A. Brooks's lovely week thing on what's happening in the sky, astrology, right? And you get to read Ginger's in there, and Kelly is in there, and I'm in there. Last week I wrote mine about Galileo, this very subject, Galileo Galilei, who it's great. I was blown away to find out that Galileo's middle finger is on display in the Galileo Museum in Florence. And if I ever get to Florence, guess where I'm going first? To the Galileo Museum to see his middle finger of his right hand. I had to be careful, almost did it. His middle finger of his right hand on display. I got so freaked out and excited when I heard that because I know why his middle finger on display. Because he was an astrologer. Why did he study astronomy? Why did he study the stars? Why did he study mathematics? Because he had to cast charts. Yes, there were people who had studied the math and the movement of the planets like Claudius Ptolemy and Copernicus and Kepler, who were also astrologers. Yes, they were. But let me tell you something. He wanted to make sure, and he got into the mathematics, and he was also a physician. And he did rectification of charts. The guy was really very smart. But he didn't get ballyhooed for that. He got ballyhooed for realizing at a certain point, especially through his work with the phases of phases of Venus. And he said, wait a minute. Anyway, he neither here nor there. Last years of his life, house arrest. Think about that. You can't leave your house. Not a fun thing. So the Grand Duke of Tuscany disinterred him after he had been buried without the sanctity of the church. Not nice, because of heresy. And they were wrong. So he took that middle finger. He took some other things, and I talk about it in the article, but he took some other things, and he took that middle finger and he put it in an egg, which is perfect, because he was seminal to the new way of thinking in the world. And he put it in an egg and said, here. And the middle finger, by the way, is as old as ancient Greece, that insult, because someone gave it to Socrates, and Socrates was very hurt by it. So sometimes and nowadays, if you say to someone, by the way, did you know that Galileo was an astronomer? They will eat you up. They'll deny it, number one, tell them to look it up. And then they'll say, well, it was, he didn't know better. He didn't. Or that Isaac Newton did alchemy and he did it by astrology, because you can't do alchemy without making sure you're doing it at the right time. And that's through astrology. It's just a hoot, Anyway, back to the solstice. Trust me, they kept track of that type of thing. So the solstice means sun still. So we look at the ecliptic, and the ecliptic is this wonderful thing, and the sun only goes so low on the ecliptic, and it doesn't go any lower, and that's known as the Tropic of Capricorn. That is as low as it goes. It doesn't go any lower than that. I won't explain it. Look it up, whatever, because we're already a third through the show at least, okay? So the idea there is that it sits there still for 3 days. Okay? On the day itself, and then about another 3 days. So 21, then 22, then 23. And on 24, it budges a little bit. It begins to move. You say, okay, it looks like it's moved a little bit, but it's not enough. It's not a whole lot. It hasn't moved a lot, but it's a little bit. When does it move? When can you really tell? You can tell on the 25th. On the 25th, it's climbing back up again. It's come all the way down. Now it's beginning to climb back up again. Celebrate. The sun has been reborn. The sun has been reborn. We get to live for another year. We get to plant crops again. We get to do all those things. And people celebrate it. All over the world, except in the southern hemisphere where it's hotter than heck for them, because the earth is actually closer to the sun in the winter than it is in the summer for us, you see. So there it's hot. It's blistering. So they're like, holy mackerel. It's a different, but they still have the same sort of experience we do. It's just turned around 6 months. So our winter is their summer. And yet they still celebrate Christmas with Santa and all that stuff. It's just 90 degrees, 100 degrees, 300, not 300. But anyway, so it's a time of celebration, right? And in this part of the world, nowadays it'll get a nod from a weatherman. Today was the Winter Solstice. That's it. That's all you know. To me, it's a huge big deal because once upon a time, it was a gigantic big deal because if the winter solstice didn't come and if the winter solstice didn't rejuvenate the sun, then it was eternal darkness and eternal cold. Short days, long nights, freezing. Adios. Aloha. Ma salama. Auf Wiedersehen. Whatever. So the celebration of the rebirth of the sun is kind of ubiquitous. It's about the same time of year. Now, in other cultures, for example, in ancient Egypt, it's based on the flood. But we still have the myth of the rebirth of Osiris. Osiris, who was killed by his brother Set and chopped up into little tiny pieces, well, a number of pieces. And their myth is much more complicated, and it's a long story. I won't get into it today. Someday we'll talk about that myth, which I love so very much. It's so peculiar and lovely. It's lovely. Lovely. Yes, it is. I wish I'd known it when I was a kid and my parents tried to force me to eat fish. I was never that big a fish fan. I can eat it now, But back then it was like, ugh. And bones, trout, very bony, and I'd get bones stuck in my throat. And I'd go, I'd play it up real well, you know. It was good. Um, the idea of rebirth is around this time of year. And I'm not going to make any accusations, you see. But you can see where some goings on could be associated with this idea of the rebirth of the sun after 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. Suddenly, back again. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Before people understood that the Earth was hurtling around the sun at about 33 kilometers per second, or 63,000 miles an hour, right? Before they knew that, through scientific stuff, they had to guess. They had to be uncertain. So they had to have faith. Now, we have to have faith that this will happen pretty much forever. We hope, we wish that the future will unfold. Now, there's always the possibility that a madman will become the president of a country. Could happen. I mean, it's almost incomprehensible that someone insane could become the president of a country, right? Or stupid, or just weird. And that they would do things that would endanger the lives or happiness of millions or billions of people out of ego, centricism, one word, or just incredible weirdness. Yeah, it couldn't happen, could it? It could, maybe. Who knows? So, Rolf, what do you think? Oh, he's not paying attention. He's smart. But anyway, but there were people like that all the time in the past. So they would turn to faith and belief because their lives were very simple on the one hand, but very complicated on the other. They just lived their lives. So they would say, okay, the world could end. The sun could not, because they didn't know what was making it happen. So they put their belief in something else. Makes sense. I guess I would too. Make sure my notes are right. So a lot of things sprung from this phenomenon. Can you see? Okay. So the winter solstice became known as midwinter. Why is it known as midwinter? Because winter started in the old calendar on Samhain, Halloween, in that neck of the woods. And 45 days later, right? 45 days later is the solstice. But that's not really it's actually, midwinter celebration is usually going to be on the 25th. Right. Why is that? Well, because we're talking about the actual point of the solar. Work it out. So go from actual Samhain is usually right around the 7th or so of November. And then you go all the way 45 days, and then you go from there and midwinter. And so just work it out on a calendar and you'll see where things fall. But then it's the celebration is usually known as the midwinter celebration. So even though the solstice is the midpoint, let's say between, because you're going winter starts on Samhain, and then midwinter is 45 days after that. But the celebration is actually on the beginning of the new cycle, which was when the sun finally moves up. Also, here's a bit of trivia for you. At Stonehenge, there are trilithons. Okay, so there was the circle around the henge, around it was part of the henge, the circle, boom, 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 these huge, mighty sarsens, these mighty monolithic sarsens, right? These guardians around the edge. And then on the inside, there were 5 massic trilithons. Trilithons being these, boom, well, let's see, go like this with it. And so, and they're beautiful. I saw them when I was in my first year of life, but I don't remember it. So it's in there somewhere. Back then, you could walk amongst them. My parents walked amongst the mighty sarsens of Stonehenge, and I guess some of them were not up the way they are now. The largest trilithon, the one in the middle, is still not there. I guess there's one leg of it, and it's very tall, like 30 feet, something to that effect. Very big. Mighty powerful. Oh, see, it's one place. I mean, I've walked between the paws of the Sphinx in this lifetime, for real, when I was 18. And that was, I wouldn't trade that for anything. Not for anything. One of the most spectacular experiences of my life. Changed my life completely. Absolutely completely. And it was when I realized what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Without doubt, I knew it. It was marvelous, beautiful, tremendous. But I would like to have seen Stonehenge. But I was, bébé. I was as big as Rolf. Probably a lot bigger than that. So, I've been to Paris, too. I've been on the Eiffel Tower, but I don't remember it. I've been on the Empire State Building. Don't remember it, all these experiences, just probably with, regression. All right, you will, tick tock, you will remember the Eiffel Tower. Okay, fine. Yeah, everyone's smoking. What is this? Oh, it's Paris. Ah, there we go. Anyway, so I don't know if that's true or not. So anyway, the idea being that it's a very big deal because on the winter solstice, the sun would set right in between the 2 uprights of the middle sarsen, the largest one, which leads astroarchaeologists and just regular old archaeologists to believe that Stonehenge was built specifically to tell what was going on with the winter solstice. Now, that says a lot. What it says is that that was the main deal around the entire year. Are we going to make it? Are we going to live? Are we going to have another year? Think about that. Being so paranoid that you wanted to make sure that you were going to live another year. Well, yeah. Pardon me. That's kind of a big deal. Are we going to make it another year? That's kind of a big deal. And that might be what the main business of Stonehenge is about, So that's how important the winter solstice is. Now, the summer solstice is important too, and that has to do with the heel stone. But the heel stone is also important because it tells you how to line up to see that middle. The heel stone is a sarsen stone that is about 15 feet tall. It weighs about 34, 35 tons. It's pretty special. I saw it too. Just can't remember it. So, what does that mean when it comes to the solstice? What's it mean for you? What's it mean for me? Well, I think that the solstice is a time for hope. It's close enough to New Year's. I had a, I had a student who was a priest. I've had a few priest students in my past, a couple of nuns, nice people. Some of them, the nuns were okay. Yeah, they were good. One priest was, nah, some other time. Um, my mind goes blank sometimes because I go in other directions. I need to bring back. Um, but the solstice, he was telling me about New Year's, that from Christmas to New Year's was the time it would take for Jesus to be circumcised. And I thought, oh, for goodness sake. Uh, Maybe that's true, but who cares? Um, we use New Year's as a thought of new beginnings. Let's begin anew. Let's do things and begin new. Let's begin a new phase. Let's do something brand new. And to me, I like the idea of the solstice, this new solar cycle, which actually every day is a new solar cycle if you think about it. But with this celebration, and really Christmas is like that. It's a day we give presents, and that's what, not prisons, presents. And that's what our ancestors did. They gave presents. Um, they did. Why? Because you would give things to someone that they could use in this new year. Things that you made usually. That's why I'm planning on giving some things that I make, I hope, if I get to it. Time's getting short. Huh, that's for sure. I say think big. Why use the new year? And why make, what are they called? Make resolutions. I resolve. I resolve. Mm. Make plans. And if they don't come about, hope for the best. Do the best you can. Make a wish for yourself. I like that idea of making a wish. First star, star bright, starlight, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might. Nothing wrong with that. I once wrote a column years ago about Arcturus in the constellation of Boreas. Boreas the shepherd. I was trying to see what the first star that night would be that I saw, and I stood outside, waited, the sun set, and the first star I saw was Boreas. And it just so happened, it's 39 years, I think, it takes for it to get from the star to Earth. And it made me think about the fact that it had been that long since I had lived in California with my parents. 39 years. And wishes sound more doable. Yeah, Pamela, they do. Wishes are good. Wishes are the kind of the foundation of magic, right? We wish when we blow out our candles on a cake, and then we contaminate the cake with our saliva. Doesn't keep people from eating it, does it? Yeah. Try blowing out candles with a mask on. One of those, what are they, N95s or whatever they are. But in that moment, when I realized it was Arcturus, it's a pumpkin orange star. It's beautiful. You can see it almost any night. You look toward the north and follow the arc of the Big Dipper. Follow the arc to Arcturus. There it is. It's the butt of Boreas. And I thought about that year and what a wonderful year it was. It was such a great year. I was like 18, you know, and it was quite a year for me. Was that quite a year for me? This happened, and that happened with the hair, and my attitudes changed quite a bit, and a lot of things changed for me that year. Most of them wonderful. It was my mom's, I think, her best year, happiest year. It was a lot of good things. My dad had a great year on his sabbatical at Stanford University and Berkeley. It was a great year. And so much had changed. So much had changed. And I felt the blessing of that year as that star was beaming down upon me. Make a wish. On that solstice day, you just take some time. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I used to do solstice meditations and guided meditations. And, you don't have to do anything fancy for yourself. Fancy's fine if you want to, but I think it's important in this day and age when there's so much skepticism and so much ridicule to remember that Galileo's finger is in an egg in Florence. Its middle finger. This one. This one right here. This one right here on the right hand. And that the best way to do that is just to live your life durably. Like Pamela said, to live it honestly, and sometimes to live it quietly. I say what you do is involve all your senses. I like to eat something. Now, it's going to be in the morning, so it doesn't have to be at the moment. Something like that is not important to me. It's more than a moment. I have this here watch. A guy named Bjorn Cartompton, friend of mine. I like Bjorn. I like Bjorn a lot. He invented this watch. It's called a Yes watch. I've got a few of them now. This is one of them. This is known as the V7. And this watch, the dark side, as we're getting close to here, when that big hand hits the darkness, that's sunset. It also shows the phase of the moon, showing that we're almost at a new moon, which is true. And he's a brilliant guy and Norwegian. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in a while, he's got a new one coming out called the Copernicus, which is all digital, I think. I'm not sure. I don't think it's in production now. He did an Indiegogo for it. Now that I'm kind of retired, I don't know if I'll be able to get one. I'll check with him, see if he wants to come on the show or something, talk about it. I would love to have him on, figure out how to do that technically, because he's a really interesting man. He worked for Sharper Image. He's been making these brilliant watches. All the data in here tells me the time, sunset and sunrise, and beeps if you want it to, and it's got. He's just if you want to check his site out, it's called Yes Watch. One word, YESWATCH. If you decide you want to hit him up for a watch, you want to buy one, tell him Mo sent you. We're friends. He may, not saying he will, but he may, just may, have a deal going on. Because Mo sent you. Maybe not. I can't for sure vouch for that, but in the past, sometimes he has. So, but he's a really good person and really smart, brilliant, genius. This new watch Copernicus coming out has GPS. So no matter where you are, you push one button, it sets itself. This watch is going to tell me on Sunday that it's the solstice. It's going to tell me that. Yeah. And it changes daylight savings time by itself. Yes, I'm plugging it a little bit because I like him so much. Yeah. He's already funded the new watch and all sorts of things. So, yeah. Here's the first one I bought from him. And that was a long time ago. I have to put batteries in it. I'll take it into it. This is known as a Zulu. For Zulu, it's not working because it needs batteries, but that's for the Zulu time zone, which is Greenwich Mean Time. Smart guy. See, I do that. I get off track. So anyway, I'm not trying to sell his watches, but I'm, as you can tell, I like them. Yeah, it's got alarms, stopwatch, all sorts of things. Yeah. First time I met him, I said, "How about putting the planets in this thing?" And he said, he just looked at me like, I think he may have been a little hungover that day. It was at a watch show. And he said, as it is, if it were a mechanical watch, purely mechanical, which is what I asked for, he said it would be the size of a backpack. And I thought, well, I would carry a backpack if I needed to. Yeah. My dad had a watch. I would just like to have that watch. I wish I had my dad's fountain pen. I'm a fountain pen man. So anyway, sometime you might I like to take a moment and eat something that grounds me to that moment. So I eat something that to me represents winter, like a winter squash, or even an apple. I know apples come in the fall, but they hang around. Something preserved. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just something that to you, like a steaming cup of cocoa or hot cider, or, I don't drink spirits. Not that I never have, but I just don't. So boring. What can I say? But something that is of that to you, if you can think of it, maybe it's bread, just some bread. But you think of the solstice, and you think of the 3 days that are coming where people weren't sure. They didn't know. Is the sun going to rise again on the ecliptic? Is it going to rise in the sky and eventually be enough to warm the earth so that plants will grow again? And I've got to pick weeds. Sense of smell. What reminds you of the smell of winter? Pine? Does me. We can't have any ornaments anywhere where our dog Coco Bean can get them. I love her so much. So much. But if Rolf were anywhere near her, it would be destroyed. Rolf would be kindling. Almost instantly. Doesn't take her long. Yeah. So, it's last year she was a puppy, real puppy, about there, out there. And so we had nothing, you know. So but whatever so it's whatever, something of the smell. I love the way the air smells on a really cold, the way the air smells when it's really cold outside and there are no cars driving around. It's like, oh, that's, you know. And you can do that in your head, you know. You can do that in your head. How about the sounds of Christmas? Music? It can be Christmas songs. It can be something that reminds you of it. You know? I yodel badly and off key. Huh? Huh? Yeah. For a few $1,000s, I could come and ruin your holiday. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Take that moment and you just close your eyes and see the northern lights. Even if you've never seen them, if you close your eyes, you can see them. They'll appear to you. They're primal. And just see them in the sky above you. And look. And you'll see all sorts of colors. Yeah. Yeah. And think about what you want for the year to be. Don't forget about New Year's and all that, but most of us have a tendency, I haven't in decades, but, you know, but then what does that do? It muddles it. It takes your power away. Empower yourself. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in yourself. I have faith in you. I believe in you. I do. I have a lot of faith in you. And you should have faith in yourself too. Okay? Okay? Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. This is the time of year when you take that seed and you begin. All right? And you let it grow. This is a lovely time of year. This is a time of year when we feel the relief and the joy. And we say, okay, now what? Now what do I get to do? Now what's next? And what could be better than that? What could be more wonderful than knowing that we have a year coming? Yes, a crazy year. There's no doubt about it. But we're here. I lost a friend this year. But you know, I got to talk to a friend yesterday, someone I haven't talked to in years and years, and someone I've known since I was about 7, 8. And it was wonderful. It was really nice. It was great to reconnect. She's a wonderful person. She's kind. She's lovely. You know, lifelong friend. That's life. That's life. Life is filled with such wonderful moments. And I'll see her again this year. You know, we saw each other over this medium, talking on the video gadget, but I'm planning on having a cup of coffee with her. Yeah. Yeah. Life is to be enjoyed and loved and embraced. Pamela says, I haven't worn a watch in over 20 years. I understand. I often don't wear one, but I've been recently wearing this every day. I don't know why. Suddenly I went, oh, time to wear it. And I'm loving wearing it. Okay, remember, I won't be live next week. I don't think. I think I'd like to take Christmas Eve and just sit and take in the beauty of that night. I love New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. I love Christmas Eve. It's warm and cuddly and lovely. And I love New Year's Eve. And then I'll be back like live after that. Okay? But I hope to be here with a show. It'll automatically pop up like magic. And I hope it'll be fun. I've got some ideas. We'll see what happens. Know how much I love you, because I do love you. Those of you who come into the chat room to talk to me, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me that you actually come in person to see me. Those of you who listen on the radio, thank you so much. It's been quite a year. Quite a year for me. And it's been quite a life. And I'm planning on living as long as I can. Like Dick Van Dyke said, I'm paraphrasing, it isn't enough. I want a lot more. A lot more. And said, thank you, Mo. It was beautiful and very hopeful. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Love you too. Thank you. And Pamela said, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas and New Year's, Mo. Yes, I guarantee you it'll be very quiet. Very quiet. Very quiet. Thank you. Renee, thank you. Happy Winter Solstice to you too. Until later, I wish you all peace. And I mean it, peace. And I wish you all love. I'll talk to you later, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. Until next we meet, I'll be waiting for you right here in the Paisley Penny Arcade.